To start with, what is a function? So though you have studied function in class 11th, so I will just remind little bit so that you can connect whatever you have done earlier to the current topic. So what we have done, in class 11th you have studied, let A and B be two non-empty sets. A relation f from A to B is said to be a function or a mapping from set A to set B if every element x belongs to A is associated with unique element y belongs to B. So if you go to just now you think how the function looks like, it means how to really relate it to our daily lives. So I have taken one simple, very simple example. So imagine this juicer, okay, and let's imagine a juicer. If you put any fruit, like you may put apple, mango, yeah, carrot, any fruit or any vegetable, and you just run the juicer, you will be getting the juice accordingly. So it means if you put mango here, you are getting mango juice. If you are putting apple here, you are getting apple juice, and so on. So here the fruit or vegetable we are taking here, that can be taken as input, okay, and also we can consider it as an independent variable, okay, and whatever we are getting here, as byproduct, so that is basically our output. It means if we put mango here, we are getting mango juice. So taking mango is our choice. That is independent variable. Getting mango juice depends upon, the fruit, getting whatever juice we are getting here, that depends upon the fruit or vegetable we are putting here. So the juice we are getting, that can be taken as output or dependent variable, and the mechanism going inside, basically the juicer is the operator, or you can say it is a function, okay. So function can be taken as an operator, and this input we are putting, that is your independent variable, okay, and also the result you are getting, that is your output. What is output you are getting, that is your dependent variable. So mathematically, let's consider, let's imagine a machine named F. The machine takes some input, and depending upon the mechanism, it gives output. So let the mechanism inside the machine be 3x plus 1. It means if we insert x into the machine as an input, it will give us 3x plus 1 as output. So we denote this by fx equal to 3x plus 1. Right? So fx equal to 3x plus 1. Here, whatever value we will be putting for x, fx will be 3 times the input plus 1. So that is the rule. So function can also be taken as a rule, or it is a mechanism, or you can say it is an operator. It is basically operator, okay. So you can visualize function like this. So let's see, if we take our fx equal to 3x plus 1. So as we put input x here, the output here it will be 3x plus 1. So x equal to 1, fx equal to 3 into 1 plus 1, we are getting 4 here. We write f of 1 equal to 4. It means value of fx at x equal to 1 can be written as f of 1, which is equal to 4. Similarly, when x equal to 2, fx equal to 3 into 2 plus 1, which is equal to 7. So we write here f2 equal to 7. It means value of the function at x equal to 2 equal to 7. Similarly, for x equal to minus 1, we are getting fx equal to minus 2. Correct? Okay, now in y equal to fx, if we take y equal to fx, so here in this case when we write y equal to fx, x or independent variable is called pre-image, and y, that is your fx, a value of the function which is dependent on x, we call y as dependent variable and it is called image of the function f. Now domain, codomain and range of the function. So whenever we take and also we have studied domain, codomain and range of the function in class 11th. We have solved lots of questions, find domain, find range, like this. So what just to remind you of, you know it, but still I think I should remind you of the terms domain, codomain and range of the function. Set of all pre-images or x is called domain of the function. So as for the definition of the function, we take f from a to b can be called a function if every element of a is associated with unique element of b. So whenever we take every element of a, so for all x belongs to a, okay, we have y belongs to b. So pre-images, set of all pre-images, a set of all x is domain of the function because we are taking every element of a. So whole a has been taken, whole a has to be taken in order to make relation f from a to b as a function. So domain of f basically whole set a, and here set b is called codomain of f. So if f is a function from real number to natural number, for example, so set of real numbers will be domain here and set of natural numbers will be codomain. So f from a to b, if the function is defined from set a to set b, a is always called domain of the function, b will be called as codomain of the function, right? And also regarding range of the function, range is defined as set of all values of the function. So set of all images or set of all y, or we can say set of all values of the function is called range of the function f. And range is always codomain. So it means whenever you take set of all values of the function, for example here you see fx equal to 3x plus 1, we can take any value of x. It means x can be any real number, right? So here you see y equal to fx, you are getting f1, 2, so depending upon this, so you are getting any y, right? So here set of all x like 1, 2, 3, minus 1, whatever we put here, these are set of all these values, set of all inputs, we call it domain. And set of all values of the functions, set of all outputs, we can take it as range of the function. So range is always codomain of the function. Okay, so range may be equal to codomain, that we will discuss in specific cases. Otherwise range is always subset, or it can be a proper subset of codomain of the function. So next coming to types of functions. So though we have studied the real functions, and under the category of real functions we have studied many functions like identity function, constant function, polynomial function, trigger function, modulus function, signum functions, even odd functions. So many functions we have studied. So maybe for those functions with graphs I will be taking a separate class, but right now we are dividing the function broadly into three types. First one is 1-1 or injective. Second one is onto or surjective. Third type is 1-1 and onto or bijective function. So what is an 1-1 or injective function? a function f from a to b is said to be 1, 1 or injective if distinct pre-images have distinct images. So this is the original definition of injective function. Okay, so whenever we say distinct pre-images have distinct images, it means when pre-images are different, images are also different. Mathematically, we can write for all x1, x2 belongs to A, x1 not equal to x2 implies fx1 not equal to fx2. It means we are taking any two pre-images, right, any two values from the domain, and if they are different, x1 not equal to x2, this implies the corresponding images are also different. Okay, and also, so being different, to prove how come it is different, so it may be time taking or it may be a little bit complex to identify whether they are different or not. But one case we can show whether they are equal or not. And also we know whenever we have difficulty in proving any statement, we can prove the contrapositive of the statement. It means proving the statement is equivalent to proving its contrapositive. So what is contrapositive of a statement? Do you remember? So contrapositive of a statement is negation of the converse of the statement. Okay, if the statement is P implies Q, then negation of the converse means negation of Q implies negation of P. Right here, whenever we say x1 not equal to x2, this implies fx1 not equal to fx2. The contrapositive of the statement will be, we will take negation of the converse. So fx1 equal to fx2 implies x1 equal to x2. So instead of proving this, we can prove if fx1 equal to fx2 implies x1 equal to x2, then the function can be 1, 1. So if the question is prove that so and so function is 1, 1 or injective, you can apply this logic. So you can show fx1 equal to fx2 implies x1 equal to x2. So let's take an example. For example, let us consider function f from real number to real number defined by fx equal to 4x plus 3. Here, for all x1, x2 belongs to set of real numbers, if we consider fx1 equal to fx2, it means 4x1 plus 3 equal to 4x2 plus 3. This implies 4x1 equal to 4x2, or you can say x1 equal to x2. So in this example, what we have seen, fx1 equal to fx2 implies x1 equal to x2, where x1, x2 are any two elements from the domain set. So we can conclude fx equal to 4x plus 3 is 1, 1 function or injective function. How to visualize whether the function is 1, 1 or not? It means in case you are given graph, okay, so 1, 1 means, so that is very clear from the name. 1, 1 means there must be 1 to 1 correspondence between the elements from A to elements in B. But if you want to visualize through graph of any particular question, any particular function, so what you need to see, if the question is you are given graph, then you have to check whether this function is 1, 1 or not. So I have taken here 3 cases. Okay, so in this case it's just like it is your linear function. It is graph of a linear function because you are getting a straight line here. So if you just check, whenever you have only for every x there is only one y. Okay, 1x 1y means 1 correspondence between x and y. Similarly here you see in this case, okay, for any particular x you are getting only one y, x y like this. But if you consider this one, this parabolic, you can say quadratic curve, here we have taken gx equal to x square plus 1. The simple example I can say, if x equal to 1, g1 equal to 1 plus 1, 2. If I write g minus 1, then you are getting minus 1 square plus 1, that is also 2. So it means for two different pre-images you are having only one image. It means this function is not 1 So whenever we set two different pre-images, means two different values of x, we have only one y. Okay, now whenever we see, if we see this horizontal line, because y remains constant here, so y remains constant means line is parallel to x-axis. So if we take a horizontal line and if this line intersects the curve, a graph of the function in more than one point, so we say that function is not 1. So this is called your horizontal line test. Okay, you see in this case 1 point horizontal line test pass, and here horizontal line test fails, here it passes. So basically this is the trick by which you can be able to identify. So linear function is always 1, and also you can just know this is the trick, a function is 1 or injective if and only if a horizontal line intersects its graph at most once, maximum at 1 point. Okay, so is it clear? So by looking at the graph of the function you can conclude, you can identify whether one or not. Okay, so our second type function is onto function. So function f from a to b is said to be an onto function if, simply said, it is range of the function equal to codomain. Okay, range of the function equal to codomain means, see, usually we consider every element of A associated with unique element of B. So, but we never say every element B, we never say it is mandatory to take every element of B. But whenever the function is onto, we say range of the function equal to codomain of the function. So it means all the elements of the codomain set, we have to use each and every element. Okay, so in other words we can say every element of B has some pre-image in A, or in other words, for every y belongs to B, there exists at least one element x belongs to A. Okay, so let's see through arrow diagram. I can show you. Yes, so here you see this one, this figure you see here, all the elements of, so it is A set. Okay, I have not written it is A, it is B. So all the elements of set B, okay, are used. See, all the elements are used here. No element in B set is left. And here you see this element of B is associated with two elements of A. Similarly, this is 1. So it means, yeah, you can conclude every element y belongs to B. For every element y belongs to B, there exists at least one element x belongs to A, right? And as per definition, every element of A we associate, we consider every element of A, but we do not say every element of B. But in case of onto function, every element of B has to be taken, right? and in this case you see some elements from B is left, they are not associated with any element of the set A, right? So this is a function, but this is not an onto function. Okay, it is a function because every element of A is associated with unique element of B, right? As per the definition, it is a function, but it is not a function because every element, I mean here, range is not equal to codomain, right? So let's consider function R to R defined by fx equal to 4x plus 3, the same example as before I am taking here. Earlier we have proved this function is 1, 1. So now let's check whether fx is onto or not. Yeah, so let y equal to fx equal to 4x plus 3. So here, as you know, to prove function is onto, we have to show the range of the function equal to codomain of the function. Now codomain is already given in the question. It means we have to find the range of the function. So whenever you have to prove function is onto, first and foremost thing is you have to find the range of the function. Okay, in case range equal to codomain, function will be onto. In case range is a proper subset of codomain, the function cannot be onto. So here let's see, we have taken y equal to fx equal to 4x plus 3. It means x equal to y minus 3 by 4, right? For every y belongs to R, x is defined. So when we say x is defined, it means x belongs to its domain. That means here domain is set of real numbers and codomain set of real numbers. For every y belongs to R, for every real value of y, x is real. Okay, the meaning of this statement is when we say for every y belongs to R, x is defined, it means for every y belongs to R, x is a real number. Okay, part of domain. So range of the function means set of all y, and we are taking every y belongs to R. So set of all y will be set of real numbers. So range of the function is set of real numbers. Codomain is also set of real numbers. So range equal to codomain, function is onto. Right? Acha. Now next one, see, consider another example. F is a function from natural number to natural number defined by fx equal to x square. So let's take x1, x2 from the set of natural numbers and let's consider fx1 equal to fx2. So x1 square equal to x2 square implies x1 equal to x2. Okay, so you may be wondering, we are not taking plus minus here because when we take x1 square equal to x2 square, so we usually take mod x1 equal to mod x2, then x1 equal to plus minus x2. But here negative values are neglected because we are taking the domain as set of natural numbers. x1, x2 belongs to set of natural numbers. So no negative values will be considered here. So as per our logic, fx1 equal to fx2 implies x1 equal to x2. Okay, on the set of natural numbers, so the function is 1, 1. But if we want to check whether it is onto or not, let's see, y equal to fx equal to x square, it means x equal to under root y. So here x is defined only when y is a natural number which is a perfect square, right? If y equal to 1, x will be 1, y equal to 4, x equal to 2, y 9, x 3. So only y can accept only the values which are perfect squares. Okay, ये natural number भी हो फिर perfect square भी हो. So it means y will be what? Set of all y is set of all natural numbers which are perfect squares. So it means we are considering a part of natural numbers. We are not taking any natural number. For example, if you write y equal to 3, you can't have x as a natural number here, no? So that's why y set of all y here is a subset of, it is a proper subset of set of natural number. It can't be equal to set of natural numbers. So here range of the function is a proper subset of set of, codomain set basically. Okay, so f is not onto. Okay, now so here in this particular case, when domain and codomain are sets, natural number sets of natural numbers, function is 1 1 but not onto. But on the other hand, if I change domain and codomain, if I modify this, if I take R to R, so in that case this function will not be 1 1. In that case, x1 equal to plus minus x2. Right? Function will not be 1 1. And function can be onto or not. Let's check. If it is real number to real number, we take x equal to under root y. Right? But y cannot be negative, because whenever you take y negative, square root of negative number is not real. So in that case, x will not be a real number. So that function will not be onto also. So like your 1 1 function, to visualize onto function also you can visualize. See, whenever you take range of a function, no, what you need to see? Range means set of all y. So you have to see along y direction, along y axis, how far the function is. Okay, in first case you see this one. You are having set of real numbers. You can take any x, any y, right? So this function is onto. Okay, so if you are taking x function from R to R, so your x can take any real value. So accordingly y is also. So y can be set of all real functions. So this is, yeah. Similarly, in case of linear function, you see this is 1 1. We already have proved it. Now let's check whether it is onto or not. So if you take any real value of x, right, you can get corresponding value of y. So for every y belongs to R, you have x belongs to R, right? Whenever we consider every y belongs to R, so set of all y means set of all real numbers. So here also function from R to R, this function is also onto. But whenever you come to this function, f is a function from R to R defined by fx equal to sin x. So here you see, as you know, along x-axis it extends this direction minus infinity to plus infinity. So domain of the function is set of real numbers. Then what about range of the function? Height of the function is 1, and below x-axis it is minus 1. So it indicates sin x maximum value 1 and minimum value minus 1. So the range of the function lies in the closed interval minus 1 and plus 1, which is a subset of real numbers, because here you see domain is set of real numbers, codomain set of real numbers, whereas range of the function is from minus 1 to 1 closed interval. So this function is not onto. Okay, and whether it is 1 1 or not, you see, if you take any horizontal line, wherever you take, if you take in general, so there are many points of intersection. So whenever the horizontal line intersects the curve, graph of the curve at more than one point, the function cannot be cannot be 1 1 function. Okay. So here so if we modify codomain of the function f from real number to minus 1 1, So this function can be onto function, because as we know here range of sin x is closed interval -1 1, which is the codomain taken here. So in this case range of the function equal to codomain. So if we modify the codomain from R to closed interval -1 1, it can be onto function. But in either case you are not getting the function 1 1. So because you see, but if we restrict the domain maybe from -π/2 to π/2, then you will be getting the function as 1 1 function. Otherwise in general it is not 1 1. And next, a polynomial function. Okay, a polynomial of degree odd function means, polynomial of degree odd function means it may be degree 1, 3, 5 like this. And the function should be from real number to real number. In that case it is always an onto function. Here I have taken one cubic function here. This is one of the examples. Okay, so now if the function is not onto, we call that function as into function. So most probably you will be getting onto function 1 1, onto and bijective from exam point of view. So these three types you really have to be experts in these three types. Okay, so okay, next, if the function is 1 1 and onto, it is called a bijective function. Okay, and also the purpose of studying bijective function is, if the function is bijective, it is invertible. So in order to study inverse functions, in order to check whether the function is invertible or not, we have to check whether the function is bijective or not. Okay, here you see in this figure, every x1, y2, z3, w5, and a 1 1 दिख रहा है, 1 1 correspondence. Okay, between the elements of a and b, 1 1 correspondence is there. So the function is 1 1, right? And it is onto because every element of this codomain we have used, you see, 1 2 3 5, right? So it means from this part you can observe one thing. You can observe, when the function is bijective, they should have equal number of elements in domain and codomain. Okay, then only it can be bijective, because every element here, one element of this associated with one element of this. Okay, for 1 1, for onto all the elements of B set we have to use. Okay, every element of set B should be associated with some elements of set A. So number of elements in set A should be equal to number of elements in set B if we want the function to be bijective. Okay, that is one condition, and of course 1 1 onto condition should be satisfied. The function f from A to B is invertible if and only if it is bijective. So every bijective function is invertible, and every invertible function should be bijective also. It is bijective. Okay? So it means f inverse, whenever we say invertible function like invertible matrix, inverse of the matrix exists. Invertible function means f inverse exists. So if f is a function from A to B and that is invertible, f inverse will be a function from B to A, right? And it is also bijective. Okay, and how to evaluate? If y equal to fx, it implies x equal to f inverse y. So here basically interchange in your pre-image and image. Like in this case, when we write y equal to fx, y dependent, x independent. Here x equal to f inverse y. So here x is dependent, y independent. So that is the whole scenario basically. For that reason, f inverse is a function from B to A. And these are some of the functions, I mean the graphs, you can observe these two graphs. One is the function, okay, sine x, and you see minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So here we have restricted the domain of the function, you see, and range of course minus 1 to 1. Okay, so under this condition, when domain is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, closed interval, both inclusive, so this is 1 1, and the inverse function looks like this. It is your sine inverse y. Okay, y equal to sine x, x equal to sine inverse y. So please note that whenever f is a function from a to b, it is 1 1. We will have number of elements in A less than equal to number of elements in B. So when it is only 1 1 but not on 2, in that case, yeah, so in case of 1 1, because every element of A should be associated with only 1. So number of elements in A less than equal to number of elements in B. You can just draw some arrow diagram and you can verify this also. So if it is on 2, then number of elements in A greater than equal to number of elements in B. So it is because it is equal to exactly equal. So in case, I mean exactly equal, but while number of elements in A is more than this, so there may be some elements in A, right? Maybe 2 elements of A, they may be associated with 1 element of B. So for that reason, number of elements in A may be greater than number of elements in B. Okay, but in case it is 1 1 and on 2, it can be equal. Okay, and by combining these two cases, if the function is bijective, the number of elements in A equal to number of elements in B. You can just see from here. Now we will take one question. Yeah, so I have taken here a very different question, though my plan is to cover some questions in the next class, and also after studying composition of the function, we can composition of the functions, we will take some invertible functions, how to find inverse. That is an easier way to do it, but I thought let me just finish the class with at least one question. So that f is a function from R to R defined by fx equal to x cube plus 3x for all x belongs to R. Show that it is bijective. So function is bijective if it is 1 1 and on 2. So step 1 is to show f is 1 1. So we have taken, suppose x1 x2 belongs to set of real numbers, means domain, and let fx1 equal to fx2. So fx1 equal to fx2 means x1 cube plus 3x1 equal to x2 cube plus 3x2. Just see the simplification, x1 cube minus x2 cube plus 3 times x1 minus x2 equal to 0. I have taken x1 minus x2 common from here. Okay, so it is x1 square. Yeah, so here you see a cube minus b cube is a minus b into a square plus ab plus b square. So after taking x1 minus x2 common from this, we are getting x1 square plus x1 x2 plus x2 square, and from the second term I am keeping 3 here. So this implies this into this equal to 0. So it means x1 minus x2 equal to 0. Okay, and for this one cannot be 0. x1 square plus x1 x2 plus x2 square plus 3, it cannot be 0. Rather it is more than, I mean if all these things are 0 now, it will be greater than equal to 3. Okay, so let's see. So if I take like this, x1 square plus x1 x2 plus x2 square plus 3, it can be written as x1 plus half x2 whole square of it plus 3 by 4 into x2 square plus 3. Now this being perfect square, it is greater than equal to 0. Non-negative basically. This is being a square, it is also non-negative. So it is, these are non-negative plus 3. So we are getting this expression is greater than 0 basically. So this into this equal to 0. So because the second factor cannot be 0, we don't have any choice now. X1 minus x2 equal to 0. Means x1 equal to x2. So f is 1, 1. Now to show f is onto, let's consider y equal to fx equal to x cube plus 3x. So it is a very different way of proving. See, so x1 cube plus 3x minus y equal to 0. It means this is a cubic equation in x and the coefficients are real coefficients. Okay, so whenever you have a cubic equation with real coefficients, it has at least one real root. Otherwise it has 3 roots. So out of 3 roots, at least one must be real. And suppose that real root, maybe we can take it as alpha. So if alpha is root of this, we can write alpha cube plus 3 alpha minus y equal to 0. Or alpha cube plus 3 alpha equal to y. So here y is alpha cube plus 3 alpha. And alpha cube plus 3 alpha is what? It is f alpha, because we have fx equal to x cube plus 3x. F alpha is alpha cube plus 3 alpha. Okay, so f alpha equal to y. So for every y belongs to set of real numbers, there exists a real number alpha, so that y equal to f alpha. So it satisfies condition of onto function. It means range of the function is set of real numbers which is equal to codomain. So function is onto. So since f is 1, 1 and onto, it is. Okay, next, last wind of the class, just I have taken some tricks. Maybe you can go through this. If A and B are non-empty sets containing m and n number of elements respectively, then first one is the number of functions from A to B is n to the power m. The number of 1, 1 functions from A to B is permutation of n objects taken m at a time, npm. So going in the same line, if I take, suppose a set has 3 elements, the number of 1, 1 functions from set A having 3 elements to itself will be, instead of npm, we can write npn, means factorial n. If the set contains 3 elements, so number of 1, 1 functions within that set will be factorial 3. Okay, so here it is, I have just taken 2, 3 points so that now it will help you to answer the questions carrying 1 marker specifically. So number of 1, 1 functions from A to B, npm, if m less than equal to n. And if m is m less than equal to n. So if m is greater than n, it's not possible, right? So number of functions will be 0. 1, 1 functions basically we are talking about. Number of onto functions from A to B, see, it is sigma I from 1 to n minus 1 power n minus r ncr into r to the power m when n less than equal to m, and again it is 0 if n more than this. So this is a very special case. In particular, if n to m greater than equal to 2, number of onto functions from A to B will be 2 raised to the power m minus 2. Okay, So in fact, only in two cases, I mean, here basically whenever you have n equal to 2, m greater than equal to 2. Okay, so number of onto functions will be 2 to the power m minus 2. And in case you have n equal to 3, m greater than equal to 3, in that case number of onto functions is given by this. So the number of 1, 1 and onto functions from A to B, where A has n number of elements, B has, A and B having m and n already we have taken, and it is m factorial. Okay, so number of bijective functions from A to B, that is your m factorial if m equal to n. And in case m not equal to n, so you will not get any bijective function here. So number of bijective functions 0. Okay. So maybe we have to wind up the class today. So some of the questions we will be taking in the next class, and also you will be taking composition of functions. Okay. So till that time, so let's revise whatever we have studied today. Right. So thank you so much.